If you were to ask me what is the problem with the Nintendo Switch 2 right now, I would answer there is no system seller. There is no one game, the one to get, that would allow me to say this is the reason to get the Switch 2. Now the device is very capable, there just isn't the one game for it. And when you go and announce an hour-long direct, the longest one has ever been, I expect to find something to look forward to. But no, there was a few mid-announcements here and there, and one really bad one that just spoiled the whole direct for me. I'm Lord Niraj, and for a lackluster direct, this one blew me away. Like I said, there is not a lot for the Switch 2 right now, and when this direct was announced, my expectations went way too high. But I thought this direct was important because the console has been out for almost 6 months, and the holiday season is right around the corner, and there's not anything to recommend the system with. Nintendo launched the system with 2 titles, but both of these are not quite big enough to fit that bill. Mario Kart World, which is just another Mario Kart, with a barren open world alongside it, and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which despite it being a solid 3D platformer, it had a very lackluster post-game. I needed something more than an eventual release of Duskbloods to start recommending the console. So much to say, that system seller is not here. Instead, there was one major announcement that killed the whole direct for me, and 50 other announcements. So let's not focus on the one yet, and take a look at what they did have. They opened up with the Mario 40th anniversary and announced some of the special things they're doing at their museum, a reminder that they have some theme parks around, and that they are sponsoring a marathon. Okay, and then they showed a teaser for the next Mario movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and also took forever to tell us the original cast is returning. I enjoyed the first movie, but I don't think it was a very good movie. Even with the context of Illumination movies, I think it was like a substandard. But it was chocked full to the brim with references to Mario, and it made the whole film enjoyable. But that is in April next year. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is coming. This is really cool, I think. I wasn't shocked at this announcement. It was Mario's 40th anniversary, and a Mario game needed to come out. But on the 2D side, Mario Wonder wasn't that long ago, and on the 3D, Donkey Kong Bonanza just came out. So a port was kind of called for, and the only Mario that's not on the Switch was either Mario 3D Land or Galaxy 2. Sure, there was also that fake leaked new Super Mario Bros. Collection, but Mario Galaxy 2 was the only real pick. They don't look to be doing anything more with the game than they did for the 3D All-Stars collection, and there will probably be a little bit of controversy because Galaxy 1 was part of that 3D collection that was a limited release, and they are technically reselling you the game. But digitally, they are splitting the 2 games up, and it's $40 for each. They are bundling the 2 for $70. I'd rather that be $60, but it is digital or physical that way. And as for the other games in that 3D All-Stars collection, it's not owning, but Mario 64 is part of NSO, and Sunshine will be there soon. So the Galaxy collection will release on October 2nd this year. And they also are releasing a physical storybook from the game on November 25th, and an amiibo of Mario and Rosalina April 2nd next year. Next, they showed Mario Tennis Fever. Mario sports titles on the Switch generation were bad, to say the least. They were coming out annually, and that was until Mario Strikers in 2022. A highly anticipated but disappointing release. And after that, the sports titles stopped. And now they're back, and hopefully with some content in them. And it looks like it could be that way. They have different rackets with different abilities that will either sabotage your opponents or buff yourself out, along with course hazards and a slew of characters to keep the game interesting. They also have a whole story mode with it. This was probably the best announcement in the whole Direct. That's more of an unnecessary sting at the whole Direct in order to set your expectation of what is to come. But there was no release date on this game, so I'll probably forget to check it out. So when the Switch 2 launched, they announced the Switch 2 Edition titles. I wasn't very hard on these because first, I didn't know what Switch 2 compatibility was like. And second, the enhancements they were showing looked good. Good enough to warrant the extra $10 on Zelda and Metroid. And the others, they were attaching a DLC that'd be $20 that would be the main reason to pick up the editions. That is not what they're doing with Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder is a single-player 2D side-scroller with an option for multiplayer. And the DLC portion of the announcement for Mario Wonder is multiplayer focused. So if you just want the enhancements, you're going to have to pay $20 for almost nothing. And in the footage they showed, I didn't notice much of an enhancement. So if I didn't notice much of an enhancement, why not just play it through backwards compatibility? Because there's a major issue with backwards compatibility. And that is, it is still 720p on a 1080p display. And a lot of the Switch games are experiencing artifacting because of the resolution downsize. I feel this could be easily solved if the games could run in docked mode in handheld on Switch 2. But because you can't, this edition is irritating. Now, me complaining about this is really just using Mario Wonder as a scapegoat to get to complain about the backwards compatibility for Switch 2. Because if you are really interested in the DLC for the multiplayer stuff, it did look fine. They did tease some single-player stuff too, so maybe there is single-player worth to it. But it's coming out this spring. They are also releasing a talking flower. I don't know if they're making their own Alexa or something, but that is also next spring. And then the last 40th anniversary announcement was Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Yoshi games are kind of sad for me because they are targeted at younger audiences, but the art styles look incredible. And I so very much want to play this game, but I know I won't enjoy it. But that is spring 2026. So I'm going to pick up the pace a little now. Storm Lancers, another 2D roguelike that's available today. Dukum, this is a game that is not Animal Crossing and not Minecraft. That is releasing November 5th. Papukam, a co-op puzzle platformer where you use color and cooperativeness to progress. That is this holiday. We got an update on Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. I keep going back and forth on this title. I kind of feel like it's a little late and that Nintendo kind of let me die off. I just don't know if I'd stick to playing this one, but I'm not really in that niche and genre, so I know people were clamoring for this, so maybe it is fine. But anyway, you create your Miis based off people you know, maybe celebrities or just the creatures in your head. And they go into this Sims-like world and they say random, odd, or mundane things in this uncanny text-to-speech voice thing. And it's funny, all the interactions that the people you know make. But that's coming spring 2026. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection with a K. I thought this already came out, but apparently not. Instead, it is digitally releasing October 30th and physically December 12th. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate got dated as January 22nd next year. Linked Banner of the Spark is an action roguelike available today. 2 roguelikes available today. Hades 2 had a very long cinematic, along with a digital release date of September 25th and a physical release date of November 20th. Kirby Air Riders is getting swappable amiibo. 2 were announced today and more will be revealed, as well as another dedicated direct. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment showed up. This is actually pretty big for the game share. This is the most action-packed multiplayer game share that they're doing, and it's really going to see how good it is, the Switch 2 casting to the Switch 1. You know, other game share games have been either not very much going on or really bad multiplayer. So I think that's kind of interesting for the Age of Imprisonment. And they also dated that game. It is November 6th this year. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I like the art style in this one. It's really cute. It's like animated cartoony, but it's not chibi, which I'm sick of the chibi. But it's still an old school RPG, so I don't care. But if you're interested, that is February 5th, 2026. They tried to push the Nintendo Today app again by adding a Kirby theme, and Kirby Air Riders information will be dropped there. And then the most shocking announcement of the whole Direct, Virtual Boy is coming to NSO Plus Expansion Pass for both Switch 1 and 2, as well as an accessory in order to play the games in true stereoscopic 3D. They're still Virtual Boy games, so they'll be as bad/mediocre as they've always been, but it's neat for historical sake. And that is February 17th. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly remake was announced. A psychological horror game is coming early next year. Some other Switch 2 editions were announced, including One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. It is adding more on-screen enemies this fall. Overcooked 2 is getting camera support holiday this year. Stardew Valley is getting mouse, split screen, and game share support fall this year. And Human Fall Flat is getting new levels and mouse support in spring of this year. Power Wash Simulator is getting a sequel with multiplayer functionality. That is fall 2025. Sequoia Game is back with Sequoia Game Planet. It is now a circle instead of a box, and it will have game share and therefore multiplayer this winter. And now Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Samus has a bike and also an overworld. I'm not too happy on these decisions. I already had some questions on the last showing up for this game in terms of the bullet time, but I chose to keep them quiet and not to judge until the game came out. But these announcements are a little concerning. Metroid Prime, the original, is one of the greatest games of all time, and it takes advantage of creating this world through these individual smaller rooms in order to pack as much detail as possible into them. Open wide areas, especially empty sand dunes, are the complete opposite of that. Now, I am still excited and highly anticipating this title, and it will be releasing December 4th. Which is past the cutoff time for Game of the Year, which is a little disappointing. Now, I don't put too much value into Game of the Year, but I was wanting the game to get as large of a recognition as possible, and was hoping that Metroid could really hit the limelight. But then again, with this next announcement, maybe it's a good thing Metroid is not in that limelight. Do you know the number one way to aggravate a gamer? And never mind, I don't want to dance around the bush here. Donkey Kong Bonanza has DLC. Now, I have yet to finish a review on this game, but I had one major issue, and that is post-game content. And the lack of anything iconic. Let's go back to that question. What is the number one easiest way to aggravate a gamer? Have a glaring issue with a game that is resolved with day one DLC. Sure, this is 2 months later, but still. I don't necessarily have an issue with DLC in general when it is attached to a complete game without it. Something like Breath of the Wild, Smash Brothers, Mario Wonder, enhancement aside, and Donkey Kong Bonanza is very empty after you roll the credits. There is a very phoned-in final challenge for the Bonanzas, 2 Battle Rush challenges, and that's it. Compared to Mario Odyssey, where you had the whole Mushroom Kingdom to explore, along with a planet with some of the hardest platforming challenges the game had to offer, and a big final challenge that looked back and took a homage to the journey you had just taken. And with this DLC, it's like locking the whole Mushroom Kingdom behind a paywall. I don't have much to say about their game mode just because it is different from the base game. But when there is a controversy about why is Mario Kart $80, P.S. not worth $80, a point was brought up. If Nintendo thinks Mario Kart is worth $80, why don't they think Donkey Kong is? Here's your answer. They think it's worth $90. And they clearly didn't want to tell you that, and so have now locked the real post-game behind a paywall. And that is available right now. I hate to also commend the game for something right now, but they did also give the game a demo. And with this game being the only game I have ever experienced motion sickness with, it was fine after I turned off the camera shake, but a demo was needed to see if you are actually capable of handling this game. And if you are someone who just rolls credits for games, sure, I might still be able to recommend this game. But the new island and game mode do look fun and would have rounded off Donkey Kong Bonanza to potentially be that system seller I'm looking for. But $90? I don't think there is a game on this planet that I would consider being worth $90. Next up was a Pokemon farming sim. Talk about a nothing announcement to keep me angry at Donkey Kong. Out of the 3 farming sims in this whole direct, this one looked to be the worst. That is coming next year. And then Pokemon ZA was shown off, and it is going to take a Pokemon fan to tell me what in the world was new here. And then again, Pokemon fans, please tell me, was this cruel? They appeared to have teased an X and Y remake, and then proceeded to announce it was story DLC for the unreleased game that you are already going to have to pay a $10 to make the 3DS looking game run solid. I'm going to blow through the rest of these announcements. Danganronpa 2x2, a game that looks like Ace Attorney mixed with Persona. That's a remake, but it's coming out next year. Dynasty Warriors Origins, and a Warriors game with DLC in the works January 22nd next year. Monster Hunter 3 Stories is coming March 13th. And a sizzle reel with 2 Point Museum coming October 28th. Disgaea 7 Complete October 10th this year. EA Sports FC 26 September 26th. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake October 30th. Virtua Fighter 5 REVO World Stage this winter. LEGO Voyagers September 15th. Little Nightmares 3 October 10th. And Persona 3 Reloaded October 23rd. Next was Resident Evil Requiem. This is actually probably the biggest announcement across the whole direct. I just am not too big into survival horror, or at least just haven't given it a shot. But the big news about this is coming day and date with other platforms. That's February 27th. And the comparison shots really look great. A little bit of a downgrade to like the hair in the background. But again, the Switch 2 is a handheld console, not a home console. And so it really looks, it looks great. And they are also releasing RE7 Biohazard and Village as well on the same day. And then they closed out with a new Fire Emblem game, but I was too aggravated to care. Let me highlight this direct. Galaxy 2 is coming over. Final Fantasy VII, Hades 2, Hyrule Warriors, and Prime 4 were all dated. Virtual Boy is coming, and Resident Evil Requiem is coming day and date with other consoles. With over 50 announcements, and this is what I come out of it with, aside from the aggravating slap in the face from Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, there was hardly anything here. There is still no system seller, a brand new system with no new games to look forward to. Aside from Duskbloods, a third-party game from a developer who's still working on their port for Elden Ring to see what they can do with the system. A single-player Splatoon game that I might have interested in, but they still haven't shown anything for. And a second racer, a Warriors title, or a tactics game? I should give a little bit more attention to Fire Emblem, but it's not a system seller. Honestly, I don't have anything else to say. I'm Lord Niraj, and I am disappointed.